So, if you could change something about your genes or the way they function, would you do it?
Well, that's a provocative question. Is that even possible?
Yeah. You could change your genes and gene function right now, today, if you wanted to. One reason you might want to do that is to prevent or treat a disease.
I would do it if I thought it was safe. Where do I sign up? What genes can be changed?
Well, it's a new field of research. Epigeneticists are searching for new ways to prevent and treat psychological disorders using what they know about how environmental factors influence gene function.
Behavioral epigenetics is different things to different people. In the simplest form, and the way I look at it, is epigenetics simply describes the process by which environmental stimuli influence a person's genetic constitution to determine all aspects of his or her behavior. That occurs because environment plays an important role in shaping an individual's traits. That occurs by shaping the patterns of gene expression in that person's brain. That occurs through a process of epigenetics. Epigenetics can be seen as a series of switches that exist in every cell in the body that can turn on genes or turn off genes or anything in between to an extent of great fine-tuning. And that occurs in every cell throughout life. A basic pattern of epigenetic switching occurs during development to create the different tissues and organs in the body, like a liver cell or brain cell. My lab is interested in understanding how life experience leads to changes in the brain that then controls the behavior of that individual. We use rats and mice, and we're interested in particular in understanding long-term responses to drugs of abuse in animal models of addiction, or responses to chronic stress in animal models of depression. Our basic experimental paradigm is to have animals experience drugs of abuse. In our depression models, we use different forms of chronic stress, and we're most interested recently in models of social stress, where mice and rats are subjected to stress with their interactions with other rats and mice, so that we think it's very ethologically valid in terms of the types of stress that humans encounter. In both of those models, we want to understand, after chronic exposure to drug of abuse during the process of addiction or in the course of chronic stress, how the brain adapts to those challenges. And we're interested in two major types of adaptations: how certain individuals can be exposed to drugs or stress and avoid being addicted or getting depressed, whereas other animals are more vulnerable. What makes some individuals more resilient and others more susceptible to both addiction and to depression. So what we would do is to analyze changes that occur in the animal's brains in individuals who are susceptible or resilient, and we search for those changes using advanced molecular biological tools, looking at first alterations in proteins, alterations in messenger RNAs, and also alterations in genes, which by definition reflect epigenetic mechanisms. The reason to focus on epigenetic mechanisms, changes at the level of the DNA, we're not looking at changes in DNA sequence, that would be mutations. We're looking at changes in the structure of the DNA, how it's expressed, that makes it epigenetic. The reason to focus on epigenetics is that it allows a uniquely powerful way of identifying the ways in which individual nerve cells are responding, both adaptively or maladaptively, to drugs of abuse or stress.
I have to say, it still sounds a bit like science fiction to me. But then again, 10 years ago, so did the idea of video phones.
Exactly. Technology is moving fast. And don't forget, we're already changing our genes and how they function. Scientists are just trying to find predictable ways to alter them that benefit us.
Maybe someday they'll be able to use these techniques to prevent all kinds of diseases, including such psychological disorders as depression and schizophrenia.
That would be amazing. In the meantime, it's worth remembering that we can already reduce many harmful environmental effects on our genes by avoiding factors such as smoking, poor diet, abuse, and stress. By reducing our exposure to these factors, we not only improve our own health, but possibly the health of generations to come.
I like the sound of that.